you can achieve a higher quality of life by restraining your growth.
Mm,
And that really resonates with me. That's why I'm doing this. That's
mm.
why I'm taking the risks to be an entrepreneur is because I want to improve my quality of life for me and my family and for the
You
people around me,
Right,
right?
you have, like, a certain lifestyle in mind, and the
Yes.
business to you is designed to support that lifestyle.
Yes. And that I think is a huge motivator for myself and many other entrepreneurs. And that was what I essentially thought a huge multi-million dollar exit would grant me. And that any pain or suffering of quality of life in order to achieve that was absolutely merited and like the risk was worth it.
The means to an end.
Yeah, it's a means to an end. Now, I think that obviously most entrepreneurs like to take a little bit of risk or maybe a lot of risk. My risk threshold has just been going down and down and down. And I kind of worry because it almost makes me feel like, oh, maybe I'm not as entrepreneurial as I thought. But to answer your question, the things that make me adverse to the risk are the things that I don't want to do. And the first one is I have a really hard time believing something that is not true
Mm.
and convincing other people of that.
Mm.
So you could interpret that as vision. You could also interpret that as lying. And you could also interpret it as kind of just having a,
Somewhere in the middle, wishful thinking,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
optimistic, yeah,
being
thinking.
optimistic.
Mhm.
Um, And I've talked to a lot of different founders and founders that have raised millions of dollars, and I don't really get lot of empathy from them to the investors, which I don't know how I feel about it. Like,
Tell me more about what you mean by empathy.
I feel like founders should, in a sense, shepherd their investors in the right direction.
Hmm.
And so when you're having conversations, and this mostly comes around when you've already kind of got them excited about your problem solution and your traction and your team, and now you're talking about the total addressable market and really the opportunity. That is something that I started to get really uncomfortable by. Like just the
Mhm.
notion of putting a huge number in front of somebody and saying it is realistic that we can capture 5% of this market in the next 5 years.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing that supports that. Like, I don't understand any justification for saying any bit of a percentage of any number that you got from what bias source. Like, and that's not a blame of any founder. I've had those conversations. I've talked to investors. I've convinced people of visions before, but I've kind of come to a point where I don't love doing that. And I would rather go slower where I have more data points, where I'm
Mhm.
not stretching the truth as much. I'm still happy to, sell people on the vision, but like the opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to build $100 million company in whatever market. In order to do that, I need to get my MVP, get some traction. Then I need to raise another $2 to $3 million. Raising millions of dollars is something that I think is just too risky for me at this point.
I think
And
that's a really
maybe it'll
mature.
change.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really kind of, like, mature way of thinking about it. I think a lot of, um oh, I don't know a lot of, but some entrepreneurs that I met on my journey, I felt like did not fully understand the game that we were in. If we were to take the venture capital path, it was more, um, this is the path that is laid out. This is the path that I see a lot of media about, and so that's the one I'm going to go down. I remember specifically being in my kind of first um, post kind of college accelerator program, and we're doing the kind of inaugural start of the cohort, and the director is up at the front of the room giving a presentation on what to expect, and he asks a question that is essentially how many people in this room plan on raising money at the end of this program? And everyone's hands go up in the air except for mine. And, I think this was supposed to be like an easy win audience participation, but the director kind of probed me and kinda called me out and was like, "Oh, the team from UVA, right? Like, you guys don't plan on raising money." And I said, "No, I don't really wanna raise money because I think raising money is something you do when your business isn't working."